Alright there, your old mate Yoki here, taking you back. Well, Pathfinder after the righteous, and fear of death. With our fearsome leader Lich to be Delamore. Now, we've just arrived at the inn. Let's have a word with the storyteller. Blind Elf looks better than he did in your last encounter. His clothes are clean and his pale face has some colour. The elf turns to you and listens closely. Is that you, my saviour? I recognise your footsteps. Determined footsteps befitting a determined person. Allow me to thank you again for saving me. Please accept this humble gift as a token of my appreciation. The elf hands you a black ring with 2 scarlet runes on it. Erebeth has explained why you were looking for me. I warned the authorities of Canabres that the local wardstone has been desecrated. They waved off my warning and paid for their inaction. I've examined many wardstones, but only in the one guarding Canabres did I sense a flaw. A spot of corruption inside, a vulnerability the demons will surely use. They're able to spread the blight inside the wardstone, corrupt it and make it their weapon. It frightens me to think what it will be capable of. Wardstone must be destroyed. Who are you, and why did they let you examine the wardstone? The elf smiles faintly. I am the storyteller, just an old elf and a bit more. I am even old for an elf. I've seen many things and have been to many places. Not so long ago, I witnessed the making of a young kingdom in the Stolen Lands, led by a remarkable and promising individual. My advice on the complicated matter of conquering those lands proved useful to their leader. This is not uncommon for me. Some seek my advice or services, and I don't refuse. This is how I acquired my reputation as an old vagrant who never hurt anyone, stayed out of other squabbles, but sometimes gave good advice. I had a few friends in the Rosian who vouched for my integrity. That is why my humble request to be allowed to see the wardstone was granted. I visited all of them, but only found cause for alarm in Canabres. Do you wield some kind of magical power? Some instinct? Storyteller chuckles. Yes, to a certain extent, but it is more of a gift. I can see the past, stories that have happened. I touch an object and shreds of its owner's memories are revealed to my mind. Their emotions, passions, and tragedies. I see like I am them. Their stories happen to me. This is my power. I've been roaming the world, gathering such stories for many thousand years. One day I will gather them all. What blight is concealed in the wardstones? I'm afraid I don't have an answer to your question. To understand the nature of this blight, we need to understand how the wardstones were created. And it is hidden from me, I can only guess. Have you heard of the Red Morning Massacre? A dreadful morning remembered with fear even by those not yet born at the time. A demoness called Minago invaded the city with a crowd of her followers and started to do what demons do best, kill and desecrate. They say they covered the wardstone with pieces of dead bodies, splashed it with blood from top to bottom. Could such an abomination darken the radiance of the gift of Iomade herself? The locals think this is impossible, but who knows? It was not the last attack. Many demon leaders brought their unholy forces here, even the terrifying Baelor Karamzadeh. Their attacks were rebuffed, but they still reached their target. I think this is when the seed of corruption was planted in the stone. It wouldn't have grown on its own, but Discardi himself has now come to take advantage of this weakness, to open the abscess that has been festering for years, unnoticed by the people of Canabres. And when the demon lord struck the blow that the weakened stone gave in. Now it's in demon hands, and nothing is stopping them from spreading the blight throughout the entire stone, and from it to the other stones along the perimeter of the world wound. Why did you travel to the wardstones? I tried to see their stories. The visions I had when I touched the wardstones were unclear. I saw hundreds, maybe thousands of different stories at the same time. They followed each other like flashes of lightning. Impossible to separate them. I couldn't understand where one of them ended and the next began. I have heard you, Storyteller. In that case, you must make every possible effort to destroy the corruption. Unfortunately, I don't know where to get an instrument powerful enough to banish it from the wardstones. As far as I know, there is nothing like it in Canabres, but the demons might have something. I heard the dying roar of Terendlev, the silver dragon, the protector of the city. At the same time, I felt a wave of unfamiliar power sweep over me from head to toe. I would advise you to go to where Terendlev perished. and search there for something. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific. But intuition and a strange sense of rightness tell me to point you there. To the market square. I found this stone knife in the market square and had strange visions. What do you make of it? The storyteller reaches out and says softly, even from here I can feel strange energies emanating from the object. If you don't mind, I will examine it. Using my method, I will try to see the past of its owner, their emotions, and threads of their memories. Maybe it'll help us better understand what we are dealing with. Storyteller touches the knife, his fingers clamping around the hilt with a hungry, masterful grip. His face contorts to an evil grimace. His face disgustingly raspy. Hunger. My many legs bring me into the lair to my mother's feasting hall. Her swollen body overfilled with food is so huge I have to look at it with all my eyes at once. On top is her scrawny little head with a long beak that is always yearning for more food. You feel feverish in your chest, where the mysterious wound is concealed, feels hot. Your mind is flooded with a wave of visions. Visions that repeat the words of the old elf. Mother greets me with a placid screech. Stupid, greedy wretch whose only achievement is my birth. A creeping, wingless creature. It's your fault I have no wings. A symbol of greatness, a birthright I should have received from my mighty father. Mother points me to a crowd of whimpering subjects, suggesting I fortify myself with their pathetic flesh. Not today. I summon my spawn and they fly to me, enveloping me in a teeming cloud. Like dark, buzzing wings, they unfold behind my back and lift me up. Mother has always been stronger, but she did not expect this. I dive on her and rip her limp, bloated body with my claws. Ichor splatters the bone spurs on my heels, sink into her flesh. I clench her pitiful tiny head and tear it off, along with shreds of meat. Victory. I am the strongest. I am the son of my winged father. The elf grimaces with distaste. His voice becomes normal again. Appalling. Stories like these are the most difficult ones to keep with me. Did this knife belong to a demon? Storyteller opens his mouth to answer, but a sudden spasm crosses his face. A new vision, a much stronger one, engulfs the old elf. Malevolent undertones vanish from his voice as it grows more determined and tired. Even looking at the wardstone is difficult. Despite the corruption nesting in it, it still has an aura of strength. Your fingers clench the stone hilt so tight it hurts. A little spot on the flawless surface of the wardstone draws your attention. It looks like a butterfly. Corruption in the guise of something utterly harmless. It will grow. You swing and stab the butterfly with the knife as hard as you can. Your fingers cramp painfully. A howl invades your ears. Light, white light everywhere. The stone knife falls from the old elf's hands. Out of breath, he drops to his knees. He is trembling with terror on his face, so unlike his usual dignified manner. What was that? That was not the past, that was something that is yet to happen, or rather, might happen. One of the roads to the future. In one of the possible futures, this item will help you cleanse the wardstone, or destroy it. You feel a longing. Take the stone chisel and plunge it into your chest, right into the wound that has opened on it. It is hard to resist this feeling, but at the last moment, your self-preservation instinct takes over. Manage to keep control of your own hands. The old man stands up. He looks completely stunned. Never before has anything like this happened to me, but how? I am not an oracle or a prophet. Or is this another riddle from the past that has caught up with me? I must find out. Seeing stories that have happened is one thing, but seeing stories that are yet to happen. I don't know why this is happening now, but there is one thing I'm sure of. This is not a coincidence. This is a sign of coming changes. Great changes. I shared your vision, and this knife tempted me. Did you see what I saw? This has never happened before. Could it be the magic of the object that you brought me? I sense dark energies in it that can cloud and charm the mind. Be careful with this item. It may have tried to influence you, but you managed to overcome its power and subdue it. Or perhaps something else happened to us, something we don't yet understand. Can you see the future? I don't know. Obviously I can, but nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The future never opened its secrets to me before I met you. Gods, who are you, and why have our paths crossed? I feel this is not a coincidence. Something momentous is happening. Destiny is pushing us towards something, but what? Questions without answers. I swear, this morning, I couldn't have imagined what awaited me. Maybe it's a knife that gives you power of divination. The knife is a powerful artifact, but I feel that its power is of a different nature. No, I felt the same as I do now, when I tell the past. This is my gift manifested in a completely abnormal way. Is what you saw destined to happen? No. The future is not set. It used to be a long time ago, when the god Aradon guarded Galarian, but not now. Prophecies do not come true, or they do, but not the way they were supposed to. I only saw one version of the future, of the path leading to it. But the choice has not been made, and our destinies are not set in stone. Who were you in your visions? I don't know. Someone strong and someone desperate enough to resort to extreme measures. I felt that what I was doing had to be done. Powers are strange, amazing, Storyteller. A few minutes ago I would have agreed with you, but the thing that has just happened, it disturbs me. My gift has never manifested like this. Something has changed, and these changes frighten me. I don't need reminding about why it's necessary to clean the wardstone. Please examine the items I'm carrying. Perhaps some of them could tell a story. Storyteller nods politely. Let me touch them. I'll tell you what I can see. The old elf carefully takes Yaniel's sword Radiance. Powerful forces lie dormant in this sword. It used to belong to an incredibly bright and daring soul. Storyteller's hand runs carefully over the scale that has still not lost its shine. Proud Terendle, protector of Knabres. You devoted your life to serving people. Your death is a great loss, but maybe I'll be able to find out something about you that is unknown to your many admirers. Storyteller's hand touches Finian. What a peculiar weapon. I sense intelligence in it, but it seems dented. Grandpa Elf, watch where you're poking your fingers, it tickles. The elf looks at you with unusual impatience. Shall we? I don't believe I need you to look at the stone knife again, you've already told me. But why not look at Radiance? What do you see in its past? The Storyteller touches the blade with his finger. Sadness rings in his voice. Resin is doomed. Demons attacked right when we lost protection of the Sword of Valor. My city, the Bastion of Hope. We built you as a symbol that the lands mutilated by the Abyss could still be restored to the mortals. Now you are perishing and there is nothing I can do. We retreat, no, we flee. A frightened crowd rushes out into the night through the southern gate. They are chased by angry howls of demons killing the last defenders of the citadel. My heart goes with them, but I'm standing still on the wall. I am covering their retreat. Demons do not attack. They seethe around you, fall from the sky, strike from all sides at once. They can't be stopped, but they can be distracted. I run to the upper floor of the great tower. Radiance glows with a golden light in my hands. I permit myself to close my eyes for just one heartbeat. I imagine that the soft glimmer of the sword I see through my closed eyelids is the light of the summer sun. I smile. I open my eyes and call out. Hey, Discarded Spawn, who wants through the best trophy of the night? You know my name, Yaniel. You know how many of you I have killed with this very hand. You want to curry favour with Darzant when I go, or the echo of your lord? Bring them my head if you can. Roaring and screeching, they rush towards me in a wave of deformed bodies and unfold wings. The wave crashes against me, spattering my armour with bloody froth. Broken wings and chopped up bodies plummet to the foot of the tower. In the heat of battle, I see Joran's pale face down there. He looks up at me in desperation, but can't help. He's carrying 2 wounds on his shoulders. My city will fall, but my friends will survive. It is what I am fighting for. I am covering the retreat. The flow of fleeing people gradually dwindles. My armor is broken in many places, and I cannot heal my wounds anymore. The last demon I stabbed with Radiance suddenly recoils, tearing the handle out of my blood-slickened hand. He flies up but falls somewhere behind the walls, by the road, being taken by those fleeing. No more golden glow in my hand. The night closes in on me, filled with shrieking, mocking demon laughter. Resin, I'm dying with you. Light of the sword, righteous Iomade. Accept my soul. Storyteller runs his hand along the blade with a sad smile. I know whose memory this is. I've heard about her so many times. Yaniel was a true crusader. Touching her memories is so cleansing. Do you see the future of this sword? Just one of numerous possibilities. Blind Elf touches the sword hilt and metal rings in his voice. I slide out of the sheath swiftly. I proudly watch the army of warriors led by my lady. I sing, slashing the air, putting courage in their hearts. I am Radiance. Tremble, city of Dresden. My lady Aniel has perished, but I am not done yet. Charge! Storyteller returns the sword to you. It is nice to know that this sword's glory days are not over. It has many battles ahead. Take care of it. It's a glorious sword. What about the scale of Terendlev's? Storyteller takes a deep breath and smiles. I am flying. I can finally spread my wings. I am gliding over a broad river. The sunset has turned its surface smooth like a mirror, and I see my reflection. It's as if another silver dragon is rising to meet me from the depths, but what is it? The scales on my chest are black, and the darkness is spreading over my body. I wake up. A clear sky sways above me, blazing with heat. I am in human form. The red dust of the wound clings to my cracked lips. Someone is carrying me on a stretcher made of shields and spears. I am so weak, I can barely lift my hand to my face. The sight of my own hand terrifies me. It is black, and the skin glistens like scales melted by fire. I probably ought to cry, but I only feel hatred and nausea. All these people around me, out of sympathy for them did I choose to leave the mountain. I gave up my flights over rivers. I went to the demon's lair. They don't have a scratch on them, but I am infected and with foulness. It's not fair. My life is more precious than their pathetic existence. Oh, how I hate them in this moment. And then I suddenly feel shame. No, these are not my thoughts. The crusaders carrying me are my good friends. I am glad they did not suffer, but I hate them and myself so much. Pain and hatred pierce me all at once. It is because of them, all because of them. Someone walking beside me touches me, talks to me, but the only thing I hear is your mentor. He will come, he will help, and I lose consciousness. The storyteller takes a deep breath, exiting the vision. Much hatred from Terendlev, and people thought she was on our side. Terendlev has come a long way. Her unit was ambushed by demons once, and she was infected with foulness. Terendlev you met in Canabris had gone through many trials and regained her former purity. So you say, Storyteller, so what happened next? Storyteller puts his hand to his forehead. Sometimes the past can be as vague as the future. We all know how Terendlev's story ended, but the beginning is hidden from us. Maybe if we find something else that used to belong to her, we will know more about her struggle. However, no matter what we learn, remember, her soul, the soul of a true dragon, overcame every obstacle, endured every torment. She was able to purify herself, for dragons are truly powerful, not only in body but in spirit too. And maybe I should have a slave dragon. See. Tell me what you see in this strange weapon here. Hello, Grandpa Elf. Storyteller carefully takes Finian from your hands. Hello, Finian. He closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. His face contorts into a painful grimace. I'm coming to again. How long have I been here? They kept me in a cage for 3 days. I know this because 3 times the lights under the door disappeared for a long time. Then they chained me to this table on the bladesmith. Everyone calls me the bladesmith. They placed a device with a jar over me. It feels like I'm being fried. At first I tried to break free, but I got tired, then I screamed, but now I've lost my voice. So the pain is burning right through me. Storyteller stops, his voice changes, becomes more frightened. I think I lost consciousness again, but when I wake up, the pain was gone, and I was tied to a table. I wasn't tied to a table anymore. I was standing near it, and someone else was lying on the table, a burned corpse covered with black crust. The master took out a handsaw and was sawing off his head, in a very focused way. I should have run back then, but I couldn't for some reason. This burned corpse had a symbol on his belt, just like I do, an eye and a star. My favourite belt, a good one. Where would a stranger get one? It must have been someone from my clan, some distant family member. The storyteller stops. When he speaks again, you hear only a muffled whisper. Those crusaders. I was glad when I saw them. I thought they'd come to help, but how? How was it that I killed them all? Someone told me to when I obeyed. I don't understand. I understand nothing now. I need to catch my breath. I need all this to stop, even for just one moment. I just have to understand what's happening to me. I just need to rest. Storyteller shakes his head, slowly coming to his senses. That is Finian's past, but what awaits him in the future? The dead have no future. Speak for yourself. The storyteller smiles. I see an endless ocean on a good day and a boat flying above the waves. I am so excited. But I don't know whose vision this is. Is this a soul existing here and now, or a soul reborn? Either way, thank you for your story. Storyteller gives Finian back to you. Please take care of this young lad. He is finally in the right hands. Do not worsen his suffering by involving him in dishonourable deeds. Oh, we don't know dishonourable yet, Storyteller. Go on, Grandpa Elf. I can take care of myself. I'm not a kid. I don't know what horrors you were talking about, but don't worry about it, alright? Just look after yourself. We have more important things to do right now. Turn with new stories. I will be waiting. Can I be of help for you? Sometimes it pays to ingratiate yourself to those who may help you rise to power. Storyteller nods gratefully. I appreciate your offer. I have reason to believe that somewhere in Canabres there is a manuscript authored by an elf from Keonin who witnessed Earthfall. Storyteller's voice suddenly breaks and he stops for a moment. For personal reasons I would like to examine it, but no matter how hard I try, I have failed to find it. Even in the Blackwing Library, I only found a mention of the manuscript exists, and is held somewhere in the city. I assume it's stored in the Grey Garrison. They wouldn't let me into the archive when I visited. All those crusaders were nervous about the strange blind elf interested in their secrets. It's understandable. The crusade naturally made them a little paranoid. But now the Grey Garrison has fallen into enemy hands. I would be grateful if I could see the manuscript. I want to know more about you. Who am I dealing with? The old elf permits himself a faint smile. I'm not surprised. A strange, peculiar-looking elf with unusual powers, who comes from afar and calls himself a collector of stories. Such things usually spark some interest. I will answer your questions. Who are you, and where are you from? Before, I would have said that I was a blacksmith from Keonin who lost his sight and then found his true calling in a new craft, that of a story collector. But I have lately come to suspect that those words are no more than a lie. The old elf chuckles sadly. It's quite the irony. I never thought I'd have cause to complain about my memory. It holds the stories of the entire world, but I've noticed more and more alarming signs lately. I encounter ancient stories and see myself in them. I don't remember those events. Stories cannot lie, but it means that my memory is lying, and I intend to get to the bottom of it. I'm looking for proof that my visions are true, and for the reason why my past has been hidden from me. Look, ancient storyteller, I didn't think elves got old like that. The blind man straightens his bony back with dignity. As you can see, we do if we manage to live for many thousands of years. There may not be a single mortal in this world older than me. The storyteller sighs and continues with a sad smile. Anyway, not about time, about the stories I keep inside. There's so much suffering and sadness in this world, and in my stories too. I've lived every one of them. I've drunk the bitter experience and accepted it into my heart. It's hard. The weight of all this suffering on my shoulders. But I wouldn't trade it for any other burden. Where did you get your strange powers? Storyteller shrugs. I've always got along well with things. I used to be a blacksmith, and I know that for sure. I've always felt the essence of things, their spirits, for as long as I can remember. I've always been able to feel the traces of memories and feelings left on things by their former owners. I don't know where this gift comes from. Maybe having taken my sight, God's granted me another sense. Why did you come to the Whirlwind? Actually, to look at the... Yeah, we know that. How do you collect your stories? Same way a court philanderer collects his conquests. The way a healer has a personal cemetery of patients he failed to save. The way every person, including you, has a box of secret, most precious experiences deep down inside their soul that no one is allowed to touch. The world is not made of things or even matter, made of stories. They move from past to future, piercing our world at the point of here and now. They give meaning to everything. They are the meaning, and everything else is simply the setting required for stories to exist. There is nothing more real and alive than a story, and anything real and alive can die or be destroyed, distorted, forgotten. As long as I carry these stories with me, they will not be lost. This is why I don't often share my stories. By sharing one with you, I give you the right to tell it to others, to distort and embellish it advertently or inadvertently. How can I be sure you will keep its original purity? Stories travel from one person to another. They change, become distorted, turn into tall tales. That is why I keep my stories to myself. And who's to say, if you're seeing strange effects on your memory, that you'll remember them accurately yourself? Mind, I have no more questions. And I know why you're at the Blackwing, so I don't need to ask. I have to go. I wish you interesting adventures. We have gained levels. Let's just rest first.
The men down in the caves are so hideous. Doesn't their appearance simply snuff out any carnal desire?
You think the face has anything to do with it? Your face, for instance. The day I touch it is the day I squeeze the life out of you.
I see young ladies still get on well together. Fun. Let's leave. Actually, no. Let me pop back in there. Maybe pick up Ember's tail while I'm there. Oh. What is this? The Griffin. He's a man. The hero of which we were told.
What in the name of the Green Mother's going on in this crazy town?
The ceiling gives way with a thunderous crash and the Griffin lands on the floor of the tavern. In a flash, the creature transformed. A huge, red-bearded man now stands before you, folding his arms. He casts a proprietary gaze over the tavern and in deep, booming voice asks,
Who's in charge here? You there in the armor? Or is it you, tavern keeper? Or maybe it's you, old-timer? Oh, you, I remember. You were in that ravaged fortress with all the books. You can explain all this to me.
His nut-brown eyes bounce from Mirabet to Gemmill and then to the Storyteller before landing on you.
Well?
Ignoring the looks of astonishment, the man approaches and looks you dead in the eye.
You're good?
You stare wordlessly at each other for a while. At last, the big man looks away.
All right. First things first. If by some chance you don't already know, they call me Ulbrich. Ulbrich Olesk. Chief of the Olesk clan. The one that gave Barzog's orcs to drubbing. But never heard of them either. I'll be damned. Is this an illusion or something? One minute I'm laying myself down for a nap in a glade one summer's day, and the next I'm waking up among ruins and flames and monsters running riot. And no one knows me. But you see, my name's famous across Sarkoris. Where in the blazes am I? What's going on here?
Ulbrich pensively runs his hand over his beard. Olesk, Bezagrot. These names mean nothing to you. One thing is clear, this man does not know Sarkoris has fallen. You couldn't come through the door, you had to smash through the roof.
The door would have been smarter, right enough. I was asleep too long, that must be it. My head's all muddled. I remember I was flying over the city looking for something, and when I found it, I just drove straight for it. Roads and roofs be damned. But what was I looking for? Drinks? Warriors? No, that's not it. Or maybe you. Was I looking for you?
Why would you be looking for me? Ulbrich looks at the hole made in the ceiling by his entrance and sheepishly scratches the back of his head. You said you saw me in the library. When?
Now, let me think. Strange that the memory's in there, but it's all broken up in little pieces. So, I opened my eyes. I saw books and stones around me, and you were there. Then I was flying over the city. I had wings. And then I was in this here tavern, and then I saw you again.
Oh. In the library, there's a stone statue of a griffin. It came to life and suddenly flew off. Was that you?
A statue, you say? Strange. I don't remember being turned to stone. But if it looked like a griffin, then it must have been me. Take a gander at this. Don't worry, I won't scratch you. I'm no werewolf, I'm a shifter. My powers were granted to me by the sacred griffin Ervar, who protects our clan. I doubt you've got any other griffins flying about this city, Bjorn.
Honestly, this Ervar has done a crappy job of protecting your clan. They don't seem to exist. Sarkoris fell. Saying you fell asleep in Sarkoris and woke up here?
That's what I'm saying to you. I was plucked like a fish from a pond and carried off to God's nowhere. All right, that's enough questions from you. Now answer some of mine. Where am I, and what's going on here?
The city of Canabres, what this is called. I don't know how long you were asleep, but Sarkoris hasn't existed for hundreds of years. The living king of a dead tribe. How amusing.
Oh, I can't take it anymore. Oh, you got me there. You're telling me I fell asleep for 100 years, Sarkoris was swallowed by demons, and Canopus, that little fishing village, is now a fortress city? Oh, go on, pull the other one. Fine. If you don't want to tell me what's going on, don't. We're in a tavern, not in the middle of nowhere. There's plenty of folks around. I'm sure one of these people will tell me what's happening here.
Ulbrich looks around.
There's one thing I do know without asking. You've got a tough fight on your hands. I'm not one to wait on an invitation to a brawl, so if you're making ready to break some demon horns, I'm going with you. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have a taste of whatever ale they brew here.
Well, a shifter. Might be more amenable company than a true believer, but like you, eh? Oh, let's catch up with Ember. The elf in front of you is young, still an adolescent by the standards of their long-lived folk. A childish, carefree smile plays on her face, and her wandering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. Terrible scars cover her body, and a few of her fingers are missing. The crow sits on the shoulder, observing you with its clever black eyes. Tell me about yourself. Why, they call me Ember. I used to live in the River City, and now I talk with you. That's my story. Why do they call you Ember? I had many names. When I was little, Mum and Dad called me Dove or Cricket or Kitten. Dad called me his little ray of sunshine. And when Mum was cross, she called me by a long name, a grown-up one. I can't remember it, no matter how hard I try. Then, when I came to live in the River City, the good people called me different funny names like Ember or Torch or Smoky. I don't know why. They called me Birdbrain because I have a crow. I don't think that's why, but okay, carry on. They called me Lucky Seven because of my fingers. She raises her hands. The middle finger on her right hand and the two smaller fingers on her left are missing. They sometimes called me grilled meat and said I was stupid. But I didn't feel hurt. I mean, they're right. I really am silly. They didn't mean to hurt me. I like Ember. It's a good word. Embers are like people. On the outside, they're grey and cold like stones. But they're warm inside. You can blow on them and they'll start a fire to help you survive a cold night. That's wonderful, isn't it? Ember it is. You really are soft in the head, aren't you? Where are you from? Far away, from the flower country. The girl gestures vaguely off into the distance. It's so beautiful there. Everywhere there's flowers blooming, golden towers and waterfalls, and everyone is like me, with pointed ears. There's no round-eared people, no short ones, no horned ones. We live there together, me and Mum and Dad. Mum and Dad argued a lot. Dad used to say that all good people should go on the crusade and fight the demons, and Mum said we were silly because it was so far away and none of our business, and that he shouldn't abandon his child. She meant me. But he didn't abandon me, he took me along. He said I was born the same year that the hall to the demon world opened. He said that it was a sign that I would be one of the heroes who would close it. Of course I'm not a hero, but I'm here anyway, helping as much as I can. Where did you get your scars? Was it Paul Run's bonfire that you mentioned? Happened by accident. My dad and I came sailing down the river to join the crusade. Dad said that all good people going to the world wound to heal it. He said that the crusaders were the best people in the world, and together we were going to win. But when we arrived in the river city, the crusaders got everything mixed up. They thought my dad and I were bad and decided to burn us at the stake. Dad died and I cried so loudly that one of the good knights realized it was all a big mistake. He started yelling at the other crusaders, even the one in charge, and then walked right into the fire and got me out. The others wanted him to stop, but he took out his sword and scared them away. The kind knight took me to a healer. I later learned that while the knight was pulling me from the flames, he himself was burned so badly that he died not long afterwards. But I'm still alive. A few fingers missing and my skin is funny. I lived in the river city ever since. I never had my own house because I had many friends. But I had many friends. And then the demons came and I met you. And you know what happened after that. You've suffered through so much. What fun to hear your tales. Bill smiles peacefully. Our suffering has only just begun. I feel you may be correct, yes. Do you worship any deity? The girl shakes her head with an unwavering smile. Dad taught me to pray to Iomade. He said she was a kind goddess and she called people to crusade against evil. The knights who burned my dad and me worshipped her too. They even lit the fire with a prayer to her, and she did nothing to help us. But then one kind knight alone, without any gods, changed his mind and saved me. I think the gods are the same as us. They don't understand anything, and they're scared of everything. So they hurt themselves and the rest of us. People worship the gods only because they're afraid of being responsible for themselves. And the gods listen to their praise, and they become smug and arrogant, and begin to believe that they're better than us. But they're no better. They're silly sinners just like the rest of us. Sometimes I pray to the gods, different ones. The good ones, the bad ones. I ask them to stop fighting and hurting each other. I don't know if they ever hear me, but if they do, the knight who wanted to burn me, he was able to change his mind and do a good deed. If he can, maybe Baphomet can too. You are a wishful thinker. How did someone like you survive on the streets? The elf shrugs. There are many good people in the river city. When I sang for them in the street, they'd often give me coins or bread or sometimes even clothes. I shared everything with the other homeless, and they showed me where it was safe to sleep, where I could get out of the rain and cold, where I could find discarded things. When the demons destroyed the river city, I looked for my friends, but I found no one. They probably all died. The homeless have no supplies or weapons or basements to hide in, and the knights won't protect them either. Knights are like gods, so self-important. They're saving the world after all. What do they care about the homeless? Still smiling, the girl shrugs. Where do your magical powers come from, Ember? These tricks, I have them from my grandma. She used to be my father's grandma, and before that, his father's. I have never seen her myself, but she's very kind and clever. When I lived on the street, sometimes she left food for me, or a blanket in the winter. Sometimes I felt her stroking my hair as I fell asleep. I believe they called that the breeze, and the other stuff was merely abandoned. But if I open my eyes, there's no one near. She also sent me soot. She scratches the crow's beak. Bird grumbles happily in response. She tells Soot how to do different tricks, and Soot teaches me. Seems like Ember doesn't know who gives her these powers. Her familiar was obviously sent by a powerful creature of good. Perhaps an angel or a fae, though you couldn't say exactly who. Thank you for your answers. You're always so cheerful. How do you manage to remain hopeful when we're surrounded by such horror? Hope. He tilts ahead and continues with a smile. Hope? No, no. Hope is a lie. What should we hope for? This world is in the hands of demons. The gods can't help, or they don't want to. Or they forgot about us altogether. The people know they're about to be eaten by demons, but they still quarrel with each other and fight and steal. There's no hope. Only us. We'll have to win without hope. It will be hard. The entire abyss is against us. We can only win by some miracle, which means we'll have to make one happen. What other choice do we have? We'll work a miracle and win. We have to. The elf smiles broadly and nods to herself. Well, you'll be fun to have around, won't you, Ember? I have to go. Oh, go. The elf watches you with a radiant smile as you leave. Right, let's head out. I believe it's time we left you behind, Sila, and took old Ulbrich with us. We have a snotty rich girl, we have a sinister cave rat, we have an imbecile, we have perhaps a bigger imbecile, and the living chief of a dead tribe. What fun. Gain promotion. Now, then if you're in close, you can use it. Shall we have you? Well, it's more against me. This is grass. Roll 7. Extra dexterity. Blur, you know. Roll strength. Let's take in this silken thread, shall we? Enemies found.
You'll make a fine trophy.
Well, that was quite simple. And so to the silken thread.
I will not be trifled with. What's that glitter?
Ah, we did not sell things. We need to head back to the tavern.
Did the world just forget me?
All will be revealed. But then there will
Open
be
your
no
heart
mysteries
to
left.
me.
What a
Amelia,
nightmare.
you need your particular skills.
The spirits guide me. I hope you appreciate this.
Always watch your back.
Just drop the excess weight.
If there's gold, it's mine.
I am helpful, am I not?
One of these fools again. An answer is an answer too. You said that, or your friend has.
Save the last one for me.
What was that we picked up?
Careful now.
What's this? Various bits of junk. Right. What? Ulrich got hurt. Help if you wouldn't do that. Now, what else? Unbending armor, armor class 4. Max dexterity 5. That makes that useless. But it's not useless to one of our magi, is it? And we have Storyteller string. Fire-based effects. Well, given what you've been through, you should have that. Lesser kinetic diadem. Diadem increases damage dealt by kinetic simple energy blast by 1d6. Points of damage, kinetic simple physical blast by 1d6 plus 1. Composite energy blast deal an additional 2d6 damage. Well, you can have that then. How'd we go?
That's easy.
We shall leave it there for today, my friends. Join us next time when we press on further. Very well.